Hello. So welcome back to Seen by Few with Nick and Lance.
Hi.
So we're continuing our Gargoyle episode breakdown. We'll be doing it probably 3-ish episodes at a time. Sometimes 2, sometimes 4 or 5, depending. In this particular instance, we're doing 3 episodes. We're doing 6, The Thrill of the Hunt, 7, Temptation, and 8, Deadly Force.
Yes.
So, what do you like that I remembered all the... I just looked at him.
I'm impressed. Well, I mean, I'm impressed. I know this is like one of your favorite.
I'm not usually able to pull up names of episodes. I don't know that I would have been able to had I not just watched them.
Okay. Well, these are. Well, we'll get into it, but.
So I think for the most part, it being a breakdown, we're going to talk about the movies or talk about the episodes, like without spoiler warning. So if you want to watch the show, go check out these 3 episodes and come back and join us for the discussion. We're going to be doing them one at a time. And once we're done with one, we'll kind of put that on the back burner unless I just remembered.
Yeah.
I want to say a thing about that episode we watched.
Yeah. So you've already had your spoiler warning from the top because we can't do it. We're going to rate each episode.
Yeah,
so.
we would end up having 3 separate spoiler sections, and
We're not doing that.
it's just easier just to say go ahead and watch them because we're going to be talking about the 3 episodes in order. Which means, I guess, first up, we'll talk about Thrill of the Hunt. And so, Lance, if you were to give Thrill of the Hunt between 0 and 10, what would you give?
So that was the pack.
That is the pack. The first episode of the pack.
I would give Thrill of the Hunt a 6.
Oh, okay. Now I've got a gauge for how much do you like these episodes.
That one had Clancy Brown in it.
And one did have Clancy Brown in it.
Yep. Nick, if you were to give it 0 to 10, what would you give it?
You're going to notice my bias because I'm giving it a 9.
A 9?
I like this episode.
A 9? Okay. Well. All right. Okay.
You're gonna notice a favoritism bias with Gargoyles because a lot of these are nostalgic for me and they still kind of elicit fun feelings or whatever.
It's a good cartoon.
It is. And I think it's still good.
Oh no, it's definitely got rewatchability. But like this was one that. I mean, what year did this come out?
94.
So I was 20 and
I was 11 or 12.
Yeah, but like this was one of those ones where I had to be home when it came on because so I would like go to work, come home, and then like I would record them when they came on because I think this is one that came on in the afternoon. So I tried to be home to watch these because I fucking loved the show. I thought it was great. It gets a little weird later on like third season.
The third season. Well, the third season they fired Greg Weisman, and then just started doing whatever the fuck they wanted with it, and it was bad.
Yeah,
just not right.
Like I don't remember a lot of the third season episodes off the top of my head, but like it got very loose. So we'll see where your bias is once we hit the third season.
Yeah, that one I don't have as much nostalgia for because when I moved to South Carolina was about this time, like around the second season between the third season, and I couldn't find what channel it was on anymore, so I missed a lot of it, and it was just back in the day, if you missed an episode, tough shit.
Yeah, you just didn't see it.
Yeah, you can hope that maybe it'll come back around in reruns and you'll catch it. But for the most part, if you miss something, it's fucking gone. So when they started putting things out on DVD, I was glad because shit, now I'm going to finally get to see this stuff. So I bought the first season, then they put out the first half of the second season, and they're like, no, oh well. And then eventually they put out the second half of the second season, which I don't think I actually have that one. But I do have this one, which is signed by Xanatos and Demona.
I was with him when he got this signed.
I actually went and got it signed by Jonathan Frakes. You had to get it signed by Marina Sirtis because I was not at the convention that year. And you're like, Marina Sirtis is going to be there. Do you want anything? Like, could you get her to sign this too?
I'm a good friend.
Yeah.
But I was with him when he got Jonathan Frakes to sign this, and it was funny because we went to DragCon and we're standing in line, and all the Star Trek nerds are like moving through and having him sign like Star Trek stuff. And then Nick walks up with the Gargoyles DVD and goes, hey, just a big fan, and like handed him
I've never
hand
seen
him the DVD, and Jonathan Frakes literally went,
Gargoyles.
yeah, and then he
It's
was
like, no, he's happy. He's like, oh, Gargoyles.
well, I mean, at first he looked at it like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Because I remember he looked at it like, what the hell? And then he started laughing. He like he belly laughed.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, oh my God, that's amazing. And then like he signed it. And like, I think you made his day with that.
Yeah, everyone else on that line was there for Star Trek. And I walked up, I'm like, I've never seen Star Trek, but I love Gargoyles.
Yeah, and I just remembered he looked at it like you handed him like a shoe with like a piece of cake that, pushed into the shoe, because he looked at it like, what the fuck? And then finally he was like, ah. And I think the look, it was, sometimes I think some people come up to actors with like not approved pictures for them to sign.
Well, people were just bringing up Star Wars products. And he's probably just trying to be like, what's this? Because I imagine you'd bring up your Riker figure or something like that and have Jonathan Frakes sign it.
Yeah.
So you just bring up a thing that is related to him, and you also have his headshots. Mm-hmm. Some people were buying the headshots for signatures, but he was one of the people in which you could just pay for the signature.
Right.
Some people at those conventions are like, you buy the headshot for the signature.
Yeah.
Namely, David Carradine. No, I got David Carradine to sign it, but some of the people were only signing pictures.
You really like David Carradine, though. I got him to sign a belt for me.
No, David Carradine sucks.
I got David Carradine to sign a belt for me. Then I went home and choked myself with that belt. No. So let's get into it.
Yeah,
shall
let's break into the thrill of the hunt.
So I really like this episode.
Mm-hmm.
What I wasn't crazy about. Well, I mean, I'm not gonna say I wasn't crazy about it. Like the episode's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Of like most of the Gargoyle episodes, I found this one a little boring, just for the fact of they show you like a new super team, and those guys were fucking jumps. Like honestly, when the Gargoyles were on their turf, they were doing okay. Mm-hmm. But then like as soon as they went to the rooftops, those dudes got fucking.
Well, I think that's kind of the point of it is you have their show or whatever where it's like, oh, the Pact fight with honor, and absolutely not.
No.
They're all about sneak tactics and all that kind of shit. So when Goliath and Lexington are trying to face them kind of like head on or whatever, it's like that shit's not working because they're not playing fair. Only once they finally started playing with similar tactics, that kind of like, we're gonna look at this roof in New York, happens to have a bunch of gargoyles on it. We're gonna hide up here. And is it playing the trailer for something?
No.
It is an age of fear. It is the age of gargoyles.
All right, should lower that shit for copyright claim. Disney will come after our throats.
Oh, sorry. Hold on. Let me change it then. Dun 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 dun.
You got the little wheelie bar and the little whammy bar on the side that's just kind of pitching it up and down.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought that of the 3 episodes that we watched, this was the weakest. Only for the fact that I don't like how cookie cutter they were. I didn't like how the guy's like, I'm ready for a real fight. And it's like you putting a gargoyle up against a dude who's like kind of strong.
Hey, birds gotta fly, fish gotta swim,
Still,
wolves gotta hunt.
it was bad. Like,
Yeah, he's essentially Haken again because he's that same sort of personality. Also voiced by Clancy Brown.
Yes.
I mean, are we spoiling shit for the future, or are we waiting for that thing?
I mean, I don't think so, because like,
Are we assuming you watched the series at this point in time, or are we?
I mean, we said right from the get-go that we're not doing the whole spoilers thing.
Because Taken and Wolf are indeed related.
Yes. But let's not.
Which will come up way into this sense. But I mean, that's just kind of a. It's relating to what I was talking about, at least. Where like he's very kind of Haken-esque in his personality, in that it's very simple.
Right.
He just wants to beat the shit out of things, and the twins, Jackal and Hyena, just they want money. They're in it for the money and the fun of it.
And the girls for the exposure.
Yeah. Fox is for the exposure, and then Dingo, I think, is just kind of like.
He's just there.
Yeah.
He's just like twirling shit.
Yeah. Well, he's from Australia. He has to throw bolas because apparently. Does he actually throw a boomerang? I don't know if he does.
I don't know.
He's got to. At some point, there's got to be some episode. Like, actually, in this episode, he throws a...
It's the Pack Returns when he does that.
No, in future episodes, he'll show up even in Australia.
Yeah, I of the three we watched, I thought this was the weakest one.
This is even a Lexington episode. Isn't your favorite?
Lexington is my favorite, but like the formula in the beginning of the show was we have to find allies. Ah, we got fucked again. Like it's not to spoil anything on the episode with Brooklyn.
But I always said we're talking about
Yeah.
we're talking about one at a time, but there's kind of the same-ish thing.
But like my thing with the episode with Brooklyn, it was kind of like, I kind of agree with Damona.
I think I think that's kind of the point, is that these episodes have a lot of semi-truth to them. Because in this one, like, Lexington is like, well, we need friends, and Goliath's like, man, we can't trust anybody.
Yeah, these guys are awesome.
Yeah,
And they fight with honor, and
And then you go through the episode, and Lexington ends up kind of jaded about it. But really, he pulled Goliath to his way of thinking to be like, no, you were right. We do need to find allies, and sometimes you take a chance, and you get burned.
Yeah,
And
but
it's unfortunate, but
But I mean, that's like literally what the show is in the beginning. They're honorable creatures that are trying to do the right thing and like defend humanity, and all humanity keeps doing is giving them a reason not to trust them. And then you have like that one person, because like I think he even says in the episode, it's like the humanity can't be all that bad if it's got a person like you in it. Elisa.
I think that's in Temptation.
Yeah, but like it's
Well,
just
they've got the good human, and they eventually do get more human friends and whatnot, but they're really kind of just not trusted by most people.
like that. Oh, I just noticed something. It's funny. Oh no, it just changed. So this Sally Richardson Whitfield, the lady who does Elisa Maz's voice, it had a picture of Marina Sirtis there for like 2 seconds, and I went down to the Marina Sirtis picture, and I was like, wait a minute, did they fuck that up? And I went back up, and it changed. So yeah, I liked the episode. I thought it was good, but I think it was one of the weaker submissions only for the fact that the pack is boring.
No, see,
They're just dudes.
I think they become more fun later, and kind of it's hard for me to like do the little crowbar separation through a lot of this stuff because of the introduction to the pack, where you've kind of got them all together, and you don't get them all together too often. I don't know if it happens again, honestly, where all 5 of them are there working together. In the future, they kind of like, here's these 4. Or now here's an episode about these 2, and here's an episode about these 2. And they kind of start separating them and exploring them as individual characters rather than as a group. Because really, in a 22-minute episode, you can't do much,
Too much.
with them.
5 people, yeah.
Yeah, 5 people in all your heroes, which you've got like your team of 5 with Elisa there too, making 6. How much can you really flesh out
That's true.
all these people and make it work? So you give them very simplistic.
I just think they're boring. It's like the other thing that gets me constantly about the Gargoyle show is they're obviously superior to anybody that they fight.
Yeah, well, it's like even in this one, you see like they throw out the metal spikes, and even Lexington, the tiny little guy, is just kind of like rip.
Yeah, and then like Goliath like rips through the wall on one of the things and like throws one of the traps over and everything. So like they're obviously physically superior, but like it seems like every fucking human in this show is like, get him.
Yeah.
So and that always gets me about that. It's like, stop it. You know?
Yeah, I mean, you also have Wolf coming up behind Lexington and like grabbing him, and Lexington being like, I got grabbed.
Yeah,
It just makes me think of D&D, where like you've got the wizard going up to the iron bars, and he's like, "Nat 20, I got a 20." He's like, you rip those bars right off the wall, and then like some little guy comes up behind you and he's like, "Hey, you got a 3." He's like, "I rolled a 1." It's like, I got you.
Yeah, but there's no nat 1s on skill checks. Yeah, well, I mean, even with his pluses, he got like 1 over you, so you're literally getting held by Pee Wee Herman. And you're just like, no,
Let go of me.
I got you. But yeah, it's to me, it was like one of the weaker episodes, only for the fact of like I think the pack's boring. Maybe in future episodes when they actually start exploring like them some more, it'll be more interesting for me. But it's like I don't take any of the episodes seriously when like the human person is like, yeah, I can take that fucking guy on. It's like, no, you can't.
That's gonna happen a lot. I mean, just based on the fact that I also grade this on the kid show curve, in that it's good entertainment for kids or whatever.
Oh yeah,
because I mean, I think they're doing mature enough themes, but not doing it like in a objectionable way or whatever.
Well, they're not punching down on kids.
Yeah.
They're not talking down to them with the show. The show has got a lot of useful messages, and it's got a lot of weight to what some of the contents they talk about. And that's one thing I like. I hope Jackson likes it because it's one I'm planning on watching with Jack.
I think it's got a lot of they're running a trap falls and then spikes come out of the wall. I mean that's kind of cool or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you get some of the sort of simplistic sides of like the pack are good people and who do they fight? They evil ninjas. And you got like the little ninjas come out and they're just kind of like, hey, yeah, kick them or whatever.
Yeah, but even that, like they were watching them on the little pre-show or whatever, and like, oh no, here come the ninjas, and it's like seriously, you think these guys are fucking dope? Like they're clowns, they're fucking clown shoes. And then like before they meet the Gargoyles, they're just like, oh man, yeah, this is something I want to take on. Like one of them was like, I want the action, and the rest of them are just like, I want the exposure.
I want the money. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
like,
Fox wants money too.
But it was just, of the 3 episodes we watched, then yeah, I didn't think this one was the best one.
There is some stuff I think is kind of cool in this one that it kind of sets up the Xanatos Gambit as kind of a trope that kind of eventually takes off. Mm-hmm. I think we talked about it last time, but the Xanatos Gambit is essentially you set up a plan where even if you fail, you still get something. Mm-hmm. So he put up these people against the Gargoyles. So if he won, he made a cool team. If he lost, he kind of learned how strong the Gargoyles are. Mm-hmm. And then he also, just kind of still made a show, made a bunch of money and publicity off it or whatever. So he's making money. And maybe he's defeating his enemies.
I fucked up again because I looked at it as general, and I was like looking at people who were not in the episode, and I was like,
yeah, you have to go.
Matt Bluestone was not in this episode.
You gotta go to the episode itself if you want to look up who's in it.
Yeah.
And for the most part, I don't know if there's anyone super. I think it's Jim Cummings is
Winnie the Pooh.
Is he?
Oh, in this?
Yeah, is he?
Jim Cummings was Dingo.
Oh, okay.
So you had Keith David Goliath.
Yeah.
You had Sally Richardson Whitfield as Elisa. Jonathan Frakes as Xanatos. Ed Asner Hudson. Tom Adcox Hernandez as Lexington. Jeff Bennett Brooklyn. Clancy Brown Wolf. Jim Cummings Dingo. Bill Fagerback Broadway. Matt Frewer.
As Jackal.
Jackal. It's Max Headroom.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I can hear it.
Yeah, it's totally Max Headroom. And then I don't remember.
Well, you also went to you have to do CL to get them in the proper order. Otherwise, it'll show you the top cast and then skip to the extras.
Oh, see, it even bottomed out. So you had Laura San Giacomo as Fox,
and then Cree Summer as.
Isn't that crazy woman from The Fog? Or not The Fog, but from
Mist.
Or did we do this before? I think we did this before. We thought that she was like that chick, and we were like, no, we were wrong, or I was wrong.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, I don't see it immediately, so I'm going to say I'm wrong. But yeah, it's star-studded. Like the show is star-studded. It's got a really good message to it.
Yeah, I mean,
Cree Summer. Cree Summer was Hyena.
Yeah.
So
I think this one's got kind of you put yourself out there, and the message isn't like, yeah, sometimes it's going to suck. Mm-hmm. People are going to treat you poorly, but don't let that burn you from putting yourself out there again in the future. And then, Hudson's lesson of it is like, hey, just because it's on TV, don't believe everything you see on TV.
So I'm going to say that the people agree with me that this was the weakest episode because it's 7.3, and that's the lowest score of that season. So far. Because there's 13 episodes in the season.
Yes. And this is the lowest rating of all of them?
Yeah. This one...
And the lowest rated being a 7 is still pretty fucking good.
Yeah, 7.5. Or no, 7.3. Mm-hmm. So 7.3, the next lowest one is...
I saw 7.4 a little lower down.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it was the lowest rated episode, so... Okay. But, yeah, as far as it came to, like, the lesson of the show, like you said, you can't believe everything you see on TV. You can't trust everybody. But yeah, I like the turn of, when Lexington gets hurt and Goliath's like, I'm gonna fucking murder everything, and then he's like, no, I'm okay, then they go up to the rooftop and just start picking them off one by one.
Yeah, I like that. I also kind of like one of the things when I was watching it, like Lexington gets hurt in some way, and like Goliath catches him and is kind of carrying him off, and Lexington's like, I'm okay, and then they kind of sets him down. And they fly
he's
off.
pissed.
He's pissed, not necessarily at like dude, don't help me, but it's more of like just mad at the situation itself, and now your leader's got to be there to protect you, and you kind of feel like shitty because you put
him in trouble.
You put him in the trouble, and this is all your fault.
Yeah,
and you're just mad because like, what are these people doing? I trusted them, and they even show up and act all sweet and be like, oh, why don't you bring the big one over here?
It's humans, dude. I'm telling you, it's fucking humans. Humans suck.
Which we can roll into the next episode if we want, unless there's nothing else to talk about. Because humans suck.
I think this is a natural segue.
Humans suck is a nice theme for the next one, which means
I need to get my water. My mouth is like.
Yeah, go get it.
Sorry, guys.
While I muse, you can join me as I silently muse over what Lance is going to give it. That one.
I know, I mean, shit, since you gave the episode that I think is the weakest one of the fucking thing, a 9, I'm just going to pick 10s for everything else.
So, yeah, I do like this show, and it's going to be graded on both the kid show curve and also the nostalgia curve, I think. I think it's going to be difficult for me to separate some of this stuff. But I'm telling you my biases ahead of time, so hopefully that'll help.
Mm-hmm. So, this one is
Temptation. The next one is Temptation.
So I think Nick will give it.
Whereas the last episode was a Lexington episode, now we're doing a Brooklyn episode.
All right, Nick. What would you, on a scale from 0 to 10, what would you give this episode?
This one's a 9.
9? Okay, I was gonna say an 8. Okay. Just going 9s. Like I'm just gonna go 9s down the rail. No, because I think that's the formula. I'm gonna give this one. This one with Demona.
Yep.
I'm going to give this one a 7.
Hey, look at that. Now I learned from a mistake.
Yeah. And I really like this episode because I really thought it was interesting. It's going to get silly later on where like Demona keeps coming back and being like, hey man, we're fucking buddies, like, let's chill and shit. And they always give her chances. She always backstabs them.
They don't give her too many chances.
Yeah, well, I mean, in the beginning,
yeah.
They give her chances, even though like she tried to kill them with a rocket launcher, and he even says that you tried to shoot me in the face with a rocket launcher. But
so I guess also in this episode, she says like, I've been at this for centuries, whereas them giving her chances, I think, is they're assuming that like they think she was awoken at the same time they were, and that she's just waking up pissed. No, she's had centuries to just get bitter and pissed.
See, I didn't remember that part.
Yeah, they do sprinkle future plot lines. Is like when she's talking to Brooklyn and she's like, I've been at this for centuries. And trust me, I know what humans are like.
How long do fucking gargoyles live?
Do you want me to tell you?
Yeah.
Twice as long as humans.
She's been at it for centuries.
And she's been at it for 1,000 years. How is that possible?
It's not her.
No, it's her. We're gonna learn about that come episode, and I don't think we actually learn it in Enter Macbeth. Episode 9, but Demona's special.
Is she special?
She is special.
Is that why you like her so much?
I just like her because she's dope, and plus she's right.
She's dope.
Fuck humanity.
Yeah. It's. They really go out of their way to like. It's funny because in this episode she's just like, hey, let me show you what I'm talking about. We need to bring Goliath around to our way of thinking. Let me show you, what I see.
Yeah,
and
check out all this shit.
And like she didn't even really have to try hard. She's like, hey, come over here. Look, this fucking dude's like mugging this old woman. It's like, okay, yeah, that sucks. And it's like, look over here. They can't even live together in their own houses. And it was like she didn't have to search very hard.
No,
it's not like any of that was scripted. She's just kind of like. Oh, look.
Yeah,
another fine example of what I was talking about.
Yeah, look how decently humanity treats each other.
Yeah.
How are they going to treat us?
Yeah, how do they expect us to live with them when they can't even live with each other?
Yeah.
So I liked that message. I thought that was interesting. I liked that he gave her another chance. Because, like, he was ready to fucking dip.
Yeah.
And she was like, just let me talk to you. Just let me talk to you for a few minutes and show you my fucking point of view. And if you don't dig it, then you can fuck off. And he was like, okay. And because I think she says, I saved your life. that should at least buy me a few minutes. So this episode starts out with them building a bike
Yes.
that lasts all of 4 minutes.
Yep.
And then,
But I mean, it also kind of shows off like another thing you have to allow for in this show is he pokes a couple holes and puts on a helmet, and he's a man.
ta-da!
wrap his wings around and throw on a coat, and he just looks like one of the
And
dudes.
sunnies. Don't forget the sunnies.
Yeah, but the second he it's like, hey man, that's a cool bike, and he takes off his helmet with his long snout, people are like, oh my god, it's a monster.
Yeah. He's trying to blend in. Get him.
Why?
I think that was one of the lines too.
It was.
He's trying to blend in. Get him.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. But yeah, that the motorcycle's all in it for like 4 minutes.
And I think they made a toy of it. I think I have had the toy of it.
Bring that next time.
I'll have to dig through the closet, break out the old toys, and kind of, because I can only show this off so many times before people are like, okay, Nick, we saw it.
No, well, I mean, one time we'll turn it to the back.
No. But we're still in season 1. I want to show season 1 of all of the 13 episodes before we eventually get to season 2. And now I'm going to bring the second DVD.
If you have Gargoyles swag, send it to us so we can have things to put in front of the camera for each episode.
I've got some stuff I'll be able to show off. I'll just have to start picking through it and picking some choice materials.
I'm eventually going to get the Nika figures. I'm just not going to get them right now. I'm going to wait till they go on sale. $36 for a toy.
Yeah, I think we've already showed off the one you got me for my birthday in the last episode.
Demona. I've got Goliath downstairs too. And then there's Thalog.
I think you showed off Goliath last time, and Damone was maybe in a previous one, probably closer to August.
Oh, can't bring that one back up then, I guess.
Yeah, it's out of its package now. I told like Lance, like, look what I got you. I'm like, you know it's coming out of the package.
And I tried to take it back and he wouldn't let me.
No, tough
No givesies backsies.
titties, Turkleton.
Yeah.
Toys don't stay in packages.
Sir, you thought my name was Turkleton?
Turkleton.
Well, isn't it? But yeah, I really like this. I thought the cool thing about this episode was the way that she was able to quickly kind of show him this is literally what you're up against, and you have a leader who's continuously like stuck in the medieval times where it's like we must defend these people. It's not our job to do that anymore.
Yeah,
like that's not our world anymore. These are not our people anymore. And then it wasn't so much a trick. Like he gets her the Grimorum Arcanorum. Which I thought was kind of weird because it seemed really easy to get that super powerful fucking spell book.
well, I mean, for them, yes.
Yeah.
In the vein of like people coming in to steal it in actual life, you've got to go there, ride the entire elevator up to the top of this building above the clouds. It's kind of secure, unless you got gargoyles in your castle.
First 5 episodes, you had people like basically just straight up helicoptering off up to the roof.
There's come into it, but also you kind of wonder how much is Xanatos leaving it unsecure to see what the fuck happens.
Well, and that's the thing I don't like about Xanatos. I like that he's a good bad guy, but I also don't like the episodes where it was like something happens where he's gotten stolen from again, and then later on in the episode he's like, "Was it Owen? I had those guys actually like hired to come and do this, and it pushed the gargoyles further into my hands." He's like the guy who's always 5 steps ahead, but he keeps fucking losing. So if you've got so much pre-planning, like why do you keep losing?
He'll always get some, like, he gets more wins than Demona does.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard because Demona wants to murder humanity. It's kind of hard to give her a win.
And he just wants to manipulate them into doing shit for him.
Yeah, and like Xanatos just wants stuff. He wants to be like the wealthiest man, the most powerful man.
Yeah, and
He wants to develop new technologies and stuff that make him better.
and they should just do it. I mean, honestly, it's like you'd still be a fucking statue if I hadn't put this fucking castle on top of my building. And now it's up there. And now y'all don't want to chill. Well, I'm just going to get a bulldozer and push your fucking castle off my building then, you dicks. I mean, just do it.
You also do that because you say you can. Like, how dope is it to live in a castle on top of a skyscraper and just be like, yeah, my bedroom's up there.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. But at the same time, it's just kind of like, I mean, for all of his things, he's not that bad of a dude. He's just kind of a dick.
Yeah, he's kind of, I don't know, lawful evil. Well, I guess not even lawful because he's about stealing shit, but he's just kind of, he's greedy.
Yeah, I'd say he's like chaotic neutral.
Yeah, he's in it for himself.
Yeah, he's not evil. He's not going to kill anybody.
And
He wouldn't smash one of them while they were sleeping during the day, but at the same time,
Yeah, because he doesn't really. On occasion, you see him finally seem to get fed up with some of them, but it's usually briefly. And
And he always finds some way to like admire them again.
Yeah.
So, but then again, I haven't watched the episodes in a very long time, so my opinion on that might change. This episode did one thing that I hate.
What's that?
Where it's like spells. Spells are like the most complex thing in the world. Apparently, if anybody can read the fucking hobbity hoobity on the page, you can cast a spell. But I don't know how many times they've done it in TV shows where you have the spell that's like irreversible. But if you do a little bit of fucking trickery, you could find your way around it.
See, that's what I like about it.
Really?
It's because there's always that workaround. And it's kind of like I think a lot of magic tends to be associated with like the Fae in the show in particular. And Fae tend to have their kind of like catches or whatever that if you find the trick, then you'll get out of the trouble.
That's the Mr. Mitzvahplicks thing. It's like
Mitzvahpidalik.
Yeah, Mitzvahpidalik. But I guess I didn't dig that one so much because Elise's like, okay, just act like you're not underneath the spell. And he's like, oh, it looks like it worked. And it was like, if you're already kind of a brain dead, like, it's got to take higher thought to be like, oh, I'm just going to act like myself. So at that point, are you yourself or are you just acting like yourself?
I think he's for the rest of the show, he's acting like he's no longer under a spell, which kind of like turns it off. But I wonder if it's going to always be there, just like in the background.
Well, I mean, now instead of him just doing what he would do, now he's having to think, what would I do?
Yeah, and then do
situation.
it. So maybe he's acting just a little bit slower. Maybe that's why people are running up behind him and grabbing him, because he's got that slow bit of lag where he's got like, oh, what do I do in this situation? Oh, this rah.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. I've never liked that whole the double talk around like certain things.
Whereas I think it's kind of interesting because a lot of times in shows, like effects just work because we're used to playing D&D. Like if I throw a dominate person on you, you get to make a will save, and every single turn you get to make like a save or something like that. Or you walk up and a Medusa looks at you, you can make a fortitude save and perhaps not have that shit happen. And whereas in like media, no, that shit happens. If someone casts a spell and it hits you, it works. Like if Medusa looks at you, you're stoned. Like fuck you, you're dead. So you've got to kind of find the workaround for things that always work and make it so that you can come back from it.
Yeah, technically, that was that way in like 3rd edition D&D too. Flesh to stone, like
you still got to make saves.
You got a save, but it didn't like.
Yeah, it was save or die.
Yeah, save or die, and like the new one, it was like it takes you down levels until you become stone. Like the old school one, you'd just be like, I fucked up, and then you have to make the save. But we're not talking about D&D.
Yeah, we're always talking about D&D a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
But I mean, that's kind of like what that thing makes me think of. Whereas like magic works, it just fucking works. Like if you manage to go through get your incantations right or whatever, you don't fuck up the spell. Then tough shit for whoever it is. Maybe they can try to dodge out of the way, but depending on what kind of spell it is, it's just going to happen.
I also like that the pages were
Yeah,
I'm holding on the pages, so you have to listen to me. I thought that was kind of interesting. If I was,
I think it's clever.
If I was Elise, I would have been walking around with those things in my back pocket the entire time. Like, Goliath, go get me a grilled cheese sandwich. Yes, Elisa. I'll gladly go get you a cheese sandwich. Yeah, I would have taken advantage of that shit.
And it kind of sets Demona up. So a lot of the 3 episodes that we're doing is kind of about the trio. Last episode kind of sets up the pack as Lexington's enemy, because whenever the pack comes up, like Lexington's pissed.
Oh yeah.
So now in the future, whenever Demona comes up, Brooklyn's like just not fucking having it.
Fuck that fucker. Yeah,
which is funny because Demona is Brooklyn's nemesis. Brooklyn is not Demona's nemesis. She doesn't give a fuck about
any of them.
Well, she doesn't give a fuck about Brooklyn. She gives a fuck about Goliath. She's still like obsessed with him. Only
for the fact that she wants him to do stuff for her.
Yeah, she
doesn't love him anymore.
Not really. Kind of, but not really. Because when Thalog eventually comes in and all that kind of shit, I think she's still got kind of that twisted affection where she's like, man, if he could just come around to my way.
Yeah, if he just get on fucking page with me. But it's like, every time that she gets around him, it doesn't seem like she always tries to seduce him. Like, remember when I was your angel of the night and stuff like that? Like, she's always trying to seduce him, like, get him to do shit. But, like, that's what her character mainly is in this show, is she's always double-talking somebody or, like, trying to coax them into doing shit for her until eventually she just gets blasty and, like, starts just trying to kill everybody.
Yeah, she frequently gets blasty.
But, like, a good rule of thumb with this show, if you haven't watched this, if their eyes turn red, they're bad guys. If their eyes turn white, they're good guys.
If their eyes turn red, they're female. Angela's eyes turn red. Desdemona's eyes turn red.
Okay.
They made that rule because they had the evil person's eyes turn red. Then like, you know what? That's just a rule now.
Didn't they have the Cold Stone episode where like his
I
robot side went red and
his robot side, I think, is red anyway. If I remember correctly.
and then his gargoyle side is white.
Yeah, I think so.
So it's
But he's also got a female in him.
that's true. I'd forgotten about that, but I guess
Yeah,
it's true.
he's got
Programming.
because I don't remember because they all had names. They were Desdemona. They were Shakespearean. I'll remember it by the time we get to it. But I think one of them was like, was it Icarus? I don't remember. I'll remember it by the time we get to it.
We'll cover that episode when we get to it.
But they kind of had names that were never in the show, and then they kind of Cold Stone, Cold Steel, and Cold Fire. I think.
Cold Stone's the only one I remember, and the only reason I remember it was because it was Worf. And I love Worf.
Othello. I think he's Othello, but they never say it in the show.
Hey,
Because Othello, Desdemona, and
person that's definitely not watching this, could you put down in the comments?
it's it's not relevant yet, but it will be. It will be at some point in time. Well, not even relevant because they never named them that in the show. Because the only one that had a name was Goliath,
Yes.
and Goliath was Goliath because he was the leader, which makes me wonder if Hudson was ever Goliath. Like, is the leader Goliath, and then he's the new leader, so now he's Goliath. So does that mean Hudson used to be Goliath?
Well, he'd have a different name than Hudson.
Well, he was unnamed at that point in time, so I wonder.
You're saying that Goliath is the mantle.
Is that the name that whomever the leader of the clan gets to be? They never say it, but that's kind of my implication of why he has a name, is because he was the leader. And Hudson used to be the leader, and Goliath used to be his second in charge.
That's a great question. I don't know.
Because we do see in the show where Hudson was the one in charge, and Goliath was kind of the second.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that they use words at that point. They use proper names at that point in time.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I would say no, just for the fact of never at any point in the show did someone go Goliath and Hudson and Goliath go because if you called me Lance for fucking 40 years and then my son it becomes the new Lance of the house, I'd still be looking at you when you said that shit. So I would say no, but that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Because it seems like that would be like a hierarchy thing within like their kind of thing.
Yeah,
So
it's like no one has names, but the big honcho maybe gets to have a name.
that's a great question. We're gonna have to look that up and see if anybody's even dared to ask that.
I'd imagine so. I mean, I like the show. There are people that like the show more than me, and I've delved into it a lot more than I have.
Well, I mean, there's some people. There's a lot of weird stuff on the internet.
I also can only get so into fandoms. Like once people start writing fan fictions and stuff about like that, that's not a particular aspect of fandom that I'm particularly interested in.
I don't like any of that shit. Like,
That's just not for me.
I mean, if someone starts like writing stories, like their side stories about that, I don't even like watching people play D&D. Like
Same here.
yeah, like
I'd rather do it myself.
Yeah, like plus it annoys me. Like, I don't know if I've just become a prima donna or what, but it's like I watch people play certain situations and I'm just like, they're not good at it.
That's not how I take it.
Yeah.
So I think because I've read fan fictions before, and kind of when they have characters act, I'm like, I don't think the character should act that way. So it's just kind of a lot of people taking their interpretation of a character and kind of taking it where they want to take it, but it's not where you would want to take it. So it just doesn't connect with you in the same way.
Well, the only thing that's different between us and them is that we don't send them death threats when they don't act a certain way. Like we it's gotten ridiculous now.
Yeah, some people like with the Raylo things or whatever were mad that Ray or Adam Driver and Daisy Ridley weren't in love in real life and sending messages to Adam Driver's wife.
Yeah, see that's
the bad side of it.
Yeah.
But that's the probably very minuscule side of that. Because you think of like how many shitty Star Wars fans are that they managed to be the loudest. Mm. So those people that we hear are just the kind of miss the fringes that are just yelling the loudest.
And that's the worst part of it. And honestly, if I said that and you were like, "Really?" You're part of the problem. Like it's I don't know. You have to be able to separate that shit. And I feel like people just get way too invested in it these days. And I don't understand it. It's like they can't enjoy it as entertainment anymore. It's like literally what they hinge their fucking lives on some of this stuff. And I don't get it. But
I don't know. I do get mad about some stuff. It affects me less than it used to. But when you see something like you've kind of It's that problem where you integrate it into your personality, and now people are mistreating it,
I mean,
and you take it personally.
I can get that to a certain extent, like if they do a remake of something.
Yeah,
And it's kind of like...
watch them do a remake of Transformers and just get like, and Optimus Prime is a little whiny piece of shit.
So there's a new show that just came out. I think it's called like Allspark or something like that, but it's another kids show. And like, it was, the first episode was free on YouTube, and I was like, oh, I'll just sit down, because I've been trying to get Jack to watch some Transformers stuff, and he just won't do it. But this has like the really pretty neon colors and stuff like that he really likes. So we watched the first episode, and I was just like, and like, Optimus Prime's a bitch in this show. He's like straight up bitch. He's voiced by what's his name? Wash.
Oh, okay, Alan Tudyk.
Yes, I believe Alan Tudyk's doing his voice. And then the first time Megatron shows up, he like shows up, transforms, like gets up in this one woman's face, and she like bulldog stares him down, and I was like,
Yeah.
you know, but that doesn't happen. He's like, hey, how's my favorite Ranger? And she's like, how's my favorite guy? Meg's all right. And then like you find out Megatron's in the Autobots, and I was like, what are we doing here? Like, you know, you're taking one of the coolest fucking bad guys in Transformers history, and you're making him a good guy. I didn't understand it.
His name's Megatron.
Yeah, right. But like they were like doing the whole fucking fist bumps and like they were, you could tell they were best friends. So he's been on the Autobots for a long time. But they made a joke that I thought was funny, where Optimus was like, Transformer roll out, and then like all the Autobots go, and Megatron looks at the girl and goes, sometimes I wonder if he's talking to me. You know, because he's not used to that shit.
So in this one, did he used to be a villain, but now he's good? Or are they setting it up where he's good and eventually he'll become the villain?
So they're building it off the original cartoon.
Okay.
Where he was a bad guy, now he's a good guy. But like most of their transformations are different, but like the Bay universe is, I guess, set up the fact that I could just go wee wee, and I can become whatever I want to. Because now, instead of being a tank or a gun or a fucking dinosaur, now he's a fucking like one of those vertical takeoff and landing fucking troop carriers.
VTOL.
VTOL.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
You have to keep changing the forms to sell the toys. I get it. But
Yeah.
but yeah, it's not what I wanted. It's not what I was used to. But I didn't immediately write a fucking letter to Hasbro going, "Excuse me, sirs and madams, it's been brought to my attention."
Yeah.
Like I don't.
Which I think most fandoms only have like 10% of people are that. The rest of the 90% either watch it and go, no, I don't like it, or watch it and go, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, but somehow their voices get shoved to the front of the line.
Because if you watch something like, you're not talking to the people that wrote this show, which means your voice isn't heard, because you're like, okay, whatever. It's the people who are either super angry or the people who super love it that go online and just start like the battle, and then that's where you hear it. And someone saying, man, I really like that show. You're going to be like, okay. Someone going, this show ruined my fucking life, and here's all you're going to remember that shit. Because you tend to remember negative things over positive things.
Yeah, well, someone can give you 10 compliments, and you can barely hear them, but one person can give you a criticism, and that shit will affect you for the rest of your life.
Yes, so the negativity reigns louder than the rest of it. And it's a small portion of people, usually, and that just bubbles to the surface.
We need to change that, people.
You know, all that to say that, like, I understand fan fiction, and that the loud voices aren't the people who write the fan fictions, but that's the stuff that's in my brain, and it's not anyone's fault really, except for that small percentage of the people who like to yell.
Yeah. So
and why I don't join fandoms.
Oh no, I don't do any of that shit. Like the Dragon Con every year always has like the panels for like the different shows, so they can talk about like what's coming up and like past episodes and stuff like that. The only panel I ever went to was the Archer panel, and I really enjoyed myself. But like, I went to some panel with some friends of mine that was there, and like one of the questions that the person asked is, it was the guy who plays Spike, Marsters.
James Marsters.
Yeah, and they were like, so in this show and Buffy the Vampire Slayer, would like Spike have hooked up with Xander? And he was like, I'm an actor. If they paid me enough money, then yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, and
like
that
you don't want to hear that your favorite Spike or whatever. It's like it's a guy playing a character, and he's doing what's written on the page.
Right.
And if something's written on the page that he doesn't like, he might go, Why is he doing that? It's like, I think it's like, oh, okay, well,
Yeah.
I'll do it.
Here's a few more dollars.
I mean, that's what you're paying me for. I mean, if this is where you want to take the character, I mean,
I'm an actor. I'm going to do what you. Yeah, this is your vision.
yeah, I'm here to put your vision to film,
Yeah.
not tell you what I think the character should be.
So Temptation got a rating of 7.5.
Yes.
On IMDb.
Which I think it should be an 8 at least. This was well, I'm also going to rate Demona episodes probably pretty high. In that I enjoy watching Demona. Mm-hmm. I can't really enjoy watching Demona win because she can't. Because if she wins, she murders somebody. So you kind of got to keep making her lose, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Like you can watch Xanatos win because what is a Xanatos win going to entail? Oh, I built a robot.
Yeah, and me talking a little shit to you while you're on the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, what's a pack victory going to look like? Well, they're probably going to
Dead people.
They're probably going to murder people. So
He's going to be wearing Broadway's face as a Cookie Mouse.
Yeah, so you can't have the pack win too much.
Yeah, well, you can have them win just to have like that win snatched from their fucking jaws, like at the last second.
Yeah, which happens. Like, I mean, for the most part. I mean, it's a heroic show where you want your heroes to kind of get on the downturn before they kind of turn it back around.
Right.
Which means like, why are these people so strong, getting beat up all the time? Because it's more interesting. Where you put the how interesting is watching Superman?
Not very.
Yeah, because most people try to put Superman in danger, and that's not the interesting part. You put people around Superman in danger, and it's his job to try to
easily walk through it.
Yeah, deal with the threat and win. It's kind of like when Demona's flying away. You can catch Demona. That's not that hard, but she threw the book with the spell in it. You got to make the decision to go get the book. So evil wins because you made the right choice.
The spell wasn't even in it. He ripped it out.
What spell?
He went after the book because he was thinking the counterspell.
She was going for the counterspell.
Yeah,
and it's like, if I throw the book, you'll never get a chance to turn him.
But he went after it because he thought there was a counterspell, and then lo and behold, there wasn't.
Yeah. So it's kind of, you make the right choice for your friend, not the better choice to go catch the villain.
I agree with that.
And that's the thing you do with Superman, is kind of to be like, well, the villain's getting away, but he threw someone off a building. Now you got to go. You obviously have to save the person to go.
Superman, you could do both.
Yeah.
It used to drive me crazy with the Flash, where like the fucking Flash is like, "You'll never get away with this," and the person's like, "Oh, I think I will," and like pushes the person into traffic, and then like goes to run away, and it was like, okay. Like that always drove me nuts. They always got away, and I was like, "You are the fastest man in the world. You can run to Tokyo in a minute. Stop it."
That's you assume stealth, but also like Demona's not stealthing away because she's yelling like a banshee when she flies away.
Yeah, she always does that as she flies off.
So the only thing that kind of bugs me about Demona episodes, which I mean you got to make allowances for because she's the villain. The clan just woke up. Demona's been fighting for 1,000 years.
Yeah, you figure she'd have an edge.
Yeah, and they're beating the shit out of her. She should be knocking the crap out of everyone. There's episodes in which like Elisa's walking up and like grabbing Demona or whatever, and you're like, oh, it's like, come on.
Yeah, she picks up cars for Christ's sakes. Come on. Yeah, no, I agree with you.
She's like wrenching metal in half. I mean, you're not grabbing her, but I mean, in order for the heroes to win, you can't have the 1,000-year-old seasoned warrior just beating the shit out of him handedly all the time.
I remember why she's 1,000 now.
You just it's a big part of her character. You just remember it.
No, it just came back to me.
Okay.
It just came back to me, but okay.
So, Temptation. I like it.
Yes.
I think it sets up magic rules that I think are interesting, and we get Brooklyn as hating Demona.
So what would you give this on a scale from 0 to 10?
That's all. So the next one is Deadly Hunt, which is Broadway versus we already did Temptation.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
So next up is Thrill of the
Deadly
Hunt.
Force.
Or Deadly Force, you're right. Next up is Deadly Force, which is the Broadway versus Dracon episode for the most part.
Broadway versus Guns.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of, they set up Lexington hates the pack, Brooklyn hates Demona, and Broadway hates Dracon. So pretty much any time they bring Dracon back, it's probably going to be a Broadway episode.
Okay.
And that's kind of like his main foil. So in this one, we learn Gun's bad.
Gun's very bad.
So you're asking, what would I give this one? You know, it's going to be 9 again. I like him. Just going to vote 9 for most of these.
I sniffed out the code.
And be right a lot of the time.
Yeah, I sniffed out the code. I was bouncing back and forth between a 9 and a 10 because this was actually my favorite episode of the season.
Oh, well, let me pick my number first.
I give it a 3.
What do you give it?
I would give this episode a 9.
No, it's not gonna go.
Yeah, this is my favorite episode of the season. I love
so far. Or do you remember that? Do you remember enough of them?
so far.
Okay.
Just because I love Broadway.
Yes.
I'd say he's my third favorite of the
Okay.
Gargoyles.
So was that Lexington? Is your first?
Mm-hmm.
Who's your second?
Guess.
Out of the clan or just in general?
Out of the clan.
I'd go with Hudson.
Yes.
Okay, and then Broadway.
Yes. I love Hudson.
He's his ornery old man. I mean, it's Ed Asner.
Well, I like how, like, I still think one of my favorite parts was in Awakenings when he gets onto the ship and he's looking for the disc and he's like looking at all the stuff and he can't figure it out and then he just goes and it pops up and he goes, ha! The way he laughs and snatches that thing. I thought that was one of the funniest fucking things ever. But yeah, I dig him. And it's Ed Asner, like you said.
Yeah.
I like the way he's got, like, I like his point of view, his view of life. Because, like, he even says, like, right from the beginning, he's like, this is a strange, really weird world. You know, you guys have to be careful. Mm-hmm. Where, like, all of them are just like, they want to get out and see the things and look at the stuff. And
I think they're essentially supposed to be teenagers. Mm-hmm. So you got teenagers out trying to explore the world and figure shit out for themselves.
And he just wants to sit at home with his dog and watch TV.
Yeah.
You know, I understand his character.
Relatable.
Now. Yeah, he's very relatable, you know.
That's even to the point where, like, he's older, he's not fighting so well anymore. Time to use a sword.
Yeah. He's got that. It looks like a long dagger or something.
Yeah,
like
kind of
that.
like a scimitar because it's kind of curvy.
Yeah, but this was my favorite episode of the season so far. Only for the fact of you always have very happy, very joyful like Broadway, and then you see
he done fucked up.
Yeah, you see a very lethal side of him
Yeah.
in this episode, and I mean just for the fact of how fucking dope he was. Like the scene where I can't remember if it was him. I think this was the episode because like when they were in the warehouse and like they're squaring off with Dracon and his men, and they have that one scene where you shoot the pulse weapon and like the dark area lights up and you see him like running in, and then it gets dark again and you see him like cut back.
It's lighting up with a gunfire.
Yeah, and he cuts back to the right and they fire the weapon again and he's gone, and then his head just kind of shows up from the side of the camera where he's snatching the guy up. Like I loved that aspect of him. You had the guy that's like super happy-go-lucky and all of a sudden he's got a fucking mission.
You know, it's kind of like he accidentally shoots Elisa. He thinks he's killed her. And then like he's going up to a robber and now they got fucking laser guns and he's like, a new kind of gun, a new way to kill it, and he's just fucking pissed.
Yeah. And he wants to basically stop it for Elisa.
Yeah.
Which is naive. It's you're in America, boss. If you're gonna fucking have a fucking problem with guns in America, you're gonna be at it all day.
Yeah. Which he will be, because I mean he set up as like he does not fucking like guns, which kind of like he starts off the episode being like, man, this. He's saying the movie side of it. We're like, oh man, guns are so fucking like, look at all these cool guys like cowboys shooting their guns and being awesome. And he shows up and he's just playing around with a gun.
And just happens to shoot her in the fucking collarbone.
Did he shoot her back there? Was
the doctor said it went into her collarbone, which ricocheted down, grazed part of her lung, and then hit like other internals, and then came out of like this area.
Okay.
So the fucking thing went. It magic bulleted her ass.
Bulls do that shit.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But like, but yeah, for an episode of the show. Like, you're talking 5, 6, 7, you're 8 episodes in, you almost lose Elisa. She dies on the operating table, and they epinephrine her ass back up.
Oh, I mean, yeah. I mean, he fucking shoots her, walks up, and like, hey, Lisa, are you okay? And pulls up his hands, and they're covered in blood.
Yeah.
And in a fucking Disney cartoon.
Well,
for like 12-year-olds.
So they didn't do that at first. He's like, are you okay? And then she's like, her eyes are closed, and he's like, oh no, I fucked up.
Yeah.
Because you can see the bullet. You can see the bullet hole. He sees the blood when he flies her to the hospital, puts her on the gurney, and when he pulls his hands back, his hands are covered in blood. And he's just like, oh! And then next thing you know, the guys walk out and see her laying on the gurney. So, but I thought that was just a very interesting point of view. Like, early on, you get... The character gets kind of gobsmacked.
Yeah, and you also got to see a different side of what most people assume or know as Patrick from SpongeBob.
Yeah. No, you're 100% right.
Yeah.
Or old fuddy-duddies like me, the guy you used to know as Dauber from Coach. Bill, I think his name's Bill Fagerback.
Fagerback?
Yeah, Bill Fagerback.
Okay.
But he was Dauber in this old show, and then
he was also Marshall's dad in How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah, you're right. And he's got that very deep voice, and
Yeah,
you know,
he has a very dopey, kind of friendly voice.
yeah.
I mean, I think he deepens it up a bit for Patrick, but he's naturally got that kind of cadence, like friendly, super friendly voice.
Yeah.
And for him to play like distraught and like angry, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, but I absolutely loved this season, this episode of this season, just because I liked seeing that more vicious side of him. Mm-hmm. I like in the beginning of the episode where like they wake up and he just fucking dips. And they're like, oh, he went to go see whatever the hell the movie was called.
Movie again.
And he was like, oh, he must really like this movie because he didn't even eat before he went. One of the things that got me about it was like the Gargoyles have gotten really good. They're like rats. Like they know how to get into every place. Because like in the movie theater, it's like, I'm going to remove the ceiling tile. Hey, I'm in the movie theater.
And then all the popcorn's right there.
Yeah, and then he like flops down the popcorn, eats the popcorn, and it's like, I can imagine the next night people are eating popcorn and they're like, this tastes like gargoyle ass. Because he's basically sitting on it for like the very first part of it.
Or the people go upstairs and they're like, ah,
What the hell?
what got it? It exploded.
These roaches are getting more aggressive. Look at the claw marks on this bag.
Claw marks in solid bag. Who would be strong enough to
But yeah, it's just I really like this episode for the fact of the content was pretty heavy.
I mean, it's doing that kind of guns bad lesson for kids. Mm-hmm. Of, and showing you like a real side effect of it. Because in upcoming episodes, Elisa, like she's not next episode, she's fine. She's still hobbling around.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think it takes her like the rest of the season to like straighten back out.
I don't remember if it's the rest of the season, but she's definitely for the next few episodes still like bandaged up. I don't remember if she's only got one arm going, but she's got like the single crutch, maybe both crutches going. Mm-hmm. But she was definitely out for the count for a bit.
So here's some fun facts for you for this episode.
Mm-hmm.
You already know most of the other people, so we're gonna start. Yeah. So Rocky Carroll was Glasses.
Yeah.
Fucking Richard Grieco was Tony Dracon.
Richard Grieco, who's that?
21 Jump Street.
I've not seen 21 Jump Street.
So he was on an old show called 21 Jump Street. That was like one of his biggies. I think it's Richard Grieco is like Dom DeLuise's kid. Let's see, born an Italian father, Richard Grieco, an Irish mother. He's a musician. No, maybe not. But anyways, I remember him from 21 Jump Street.
He's definitely that kind of New York gangster sort of character.
21 Jump Street was literally a show about older kids going undercover as high school students to bust people for drugs and shit like that. And it was very obvious that like they were like, I think that's the one of the movies that Amber watches with Drew Barrymore. Where she goes back as a high school student. They did a lampooning of that in an Adam Sandler movie where it was Steve Buscemi as a high school student.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. How do you do, fellow kids?
Hello, fellow children. Yeah. Where can I find drugs?
Yeah. How do you do, fellow kids?
Yeah. So you had... there was a lot of people in here. Oh, so wow, I didn't realize that. So Diane Maza, Elisa's mom. That's Nichelle Nichols.
Nichelle Nichols, yeah.
I didn't realize that until just now.
Oh, when we see, I think we see a lot of people for the first time. Even the name Robert Ito sounds familiar. Who's Dr. Sato? I guess one of the doctors.
Yeah.
But we get Peter Maza. I don't know Michael Horst, so that name doesn't immediately jump out to me. Mm-mm. But we get the introduction to her parents. I think did we get Derek in here as well? We might not get Derek.
Her brother?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's there.
Is he in this episode?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't remember if he was one of the three, because I think they also brought in her sister.
So
maybe.
Her brother was definitely there. It was the people who came to visit her in the hospital was her mother, her father, and her brother.
Yeah, and then also Maria Chavez was there as well. Was the captain?
Yes.
So I think this is the first. I think this is the first time we see the captain. No, we might see the captain in Awakening.
I think she was in Awakening.
I think we see her in Awakening.
Yeah, I think she was in Awakening, but
that's kind of like where you learn that Elisa's mixed race, because you see her father of Native American heritage, who used to be a cop himself, and then Diane being African American.
Mm-hmm. And then her brother, I'd say he looks more African American than.
But they're still full blooded. It's just kind of how it presents themselves or whatever.
Well, I mean, I like that the show did that.
Yeah.
It's funny because everyone calls Disney like super evil corporation and stuff like that, but like some of their shows do have good messages. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you're necessarily evil because you're greedy, but like they are doing.
It depends on what you do to get your money.
Well, yeah, it depends on what you do with the money after the fact too.
Well, and yeah, it's both things. Because who do you have to screw over to get the money?
Yeah, I mean, I guess so.
And like, how many corporations are you buying up and
Monopolies are bad
and shutting down in order to get your money?
Yeah, no, I get it, but
To put out a feel good message that you don't practice, you only preach.
But yeah, it's. Well, I mean, it's not necessarily. They just sign the checks.
Yeah. It's the people who write the show that kind of are putting the message forward.
Right.
Which this one being, guns bad.
Yeah, but like I dug that. I dug the fact of you saw the fight where, he romanticized him because it was something he saw in westerns, which I think a lot of kids do.
Yeah, and that's his only exposure to it. I mean, he just learned about guns.
Yeah, and I really respect cartoons that do that try to get a message across, not only to entertain but also to it's edutainment.
Yeah. Well, I also like it when the very special episodes, air quotes, are usually one-offs that you could pull out and would never show up again. But like this show, they tend to do episodic, but a lot of times it comes back and it's a part of their character now.
Yeah.
Like Brooklyn no longer likes guns. That's not a thing he's super into anymore, and that's just become part of Broadway. Sorry, it's just part of his character, and that's going to come up even in the episodic shit where it generally plays it on more in Dracon episodes, but.
And we didn't even talk about Tony Dracon.
Yeah.
Scummy.
Yeah.
Guy who calls people babe and honey and it's super condescending, and his little fucking trio of assholes.
And it's one of those guys that's obviously dirty, but you can't prove it.
And I think there's even an episode later on. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think there's even an episode later on when Owen goes back and he's just like, Dracon got the guns, and he's like, and Xanto's like, oh, I gave him the information that the guns were showing up in the harbor, and that way the Gargoyles would go blah blah blah. I think it was another idea because he's always Jonathan Frakes just reads the scripts ahead of time. It's like Xanatos reads the scripts. That's his power.
It's like, oh, okay. This is great.
Yeah, he has a power called 3 steps ahead, where basically the writers are just like, here's the next 5 pages, and he's just like, oh shit, they're gonna try to do that. Oh, I'm gonna go with these motherfuckers with this.
So that's one of the things we've played in games that we never utilized as much, because in the Fate system where we play, we have those Fate things. You could play a Fate chip to be the 3 steps ahead sort of guy.
Yeah,
you could pay your fate chip and make the declaration that I knew this was going to happen.
Right.
So I put the thing in my trunk ahead of time or something like that. And if that fits up with the character, that's just you can, in order to be that smart, you do need to know what's going on ahead of time, and that's hard to pull off in improv.
But I feel like sometimes it's you have that one tough guy who has the girl come up and flip him, and he's like, I knew you were gonna flip me, so I did the blah. He basically. He'll try and flip it to say it's a positive when it was a negative.
But I wonder how much of that is him just kind of bullshitting, and essentially him getting the loss, but him being like, you know what, I expected this, or trying to find that I lost, but here's what I gained out of it.
Right. Yeah.
And you did take a loss, but you didn't take it in total loss.
Yeah. We got a bloody nose, but this is the data I got from it, and yeah, he builds the gargoyle robots off of watching them. In the first couple of episodes, but even then, those things don't get much better. Only when he's piloting them.
Yeah, but we will find them better in 2 episodes, because I think so coming up at least next time we're going to talk about Enter Macbeth, The Edge, and Long Way to Morning. Enter Macbeth is a Macbeth episode. The Edge is a Xanatos episode. That's where he finally gets out of prison. So he went to prison, episode 5, got out episode 10. And then we're going to have Long Way to Morning, which is a Hudson episode. Nice.
I can't wait for that one.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
But this episode of Deadly Force, this got an 8.2.
8.2. Is that the highest rated one?
I think it was the highest rated one of the season.
Well, Reawakening, the season finale, is an 8.2. Awakening Part 5 is an 8.2, as does Part 3. Oh, first episode, 8.4. That's the highest rated.
So I'm not considering the first 5 episodes. I know it's part of the season, but
it was
the movie that got them rolling.
Yeah, it's those first 5 episodes are kind of like the movie,
right?
That the big movie pilot. That's what I looked to see if I still had it. I had it on VHS. It was essentially they called it Gargoyles the movie. It was a collection, and it had a rollout map. And I think at the end of the episode, you would watch all the episodes, and at the end it had a little board game that you would play. And occasionally Jonathan Frakes as Xanatos would come on and be like, oh, go ahead and stop. And if you're on this space, do whatever, or something like that. Fun when I was a kid. Just because it was kind of, you're playing a little board game or whatever.
I don't remember. When I hate that I bought that Gargoyles board game back there because it is like basic as fuck.
It's fun. It was fun though.
Well, yeah, but we played it, but like we played it the first time, and then the second episode was like focus fire on one character. So like we focus fired Demona down, then we went after Xanatos, focus fired him down, and then once we got Xanatos down, it got to the point where we found out what Cold Stone's thing was. Where like if Xanatos doing this, if he's alive, then he does this.
Yeah, once you kind of we lost the first time. The second time, it's kind of like Cold Stone is just a thing that goes around, and he's either Cold Stone or he's Cold Steel, whatever the guy, or Cold Fire, whatever the guy's name is. Iago. He's either Othello or he's Iago.
Right.
So
and
the good side of the bad side.
And after we figured it out, it was like all of us went to the same area and just like bull rushed.
Raffle stomped Demona real quick.
Yeah, Raffle stomped Demona. Then we went to Raffle stomp Xanatos, but it was funny because like if he falls during this, then Cold Stone's like tougher, but if he's this, so I remembered we like beat the living shit out of him, and then we were like, until we rolled what Cold Stone was, and then we were like, he's a good guy, finish him. So, but I mean, it's a neat game, but it seems like it's going to be somewhat one trick, and I haven't seen them release any expansions for it. So, and I think this one's episodic too. So we'll see.
We'll see. If you end up not liking the board, give it to me. I will take it.
We'll talk. But I think we've done this. What do you think? You have anything else to add?
I think we've kind of gone over the 3 episodes. They're good. I think the first season has the best stuff. Mm-hmm. Season 2 will end up being a bit more spotty, but yeah, it's good shit.
Nick is selling this if you want to buy it. It's got the autographs on it.
I'm not selling out for shit.
$300.
No.
400.
No.
5?
No.
You wouldn't sell this for $500? I can get you these fucking autographs again real fast.
I don't know that I'd sell it for 500 either.
I don't know if Marina Sirtest goes, but I mean, ever since she's been on the new shows, I'm pretty sure she comes back out again.
I don't know. So I have to get a new copy and then track them down at some sort of convention, wait in a convention line. Those suck. I hate going to a convention and then waiting in lines.
You know what's even better about this is they signed the outside plastic if you wanted to eventually when you
They
get...
didn't sign the plastic.
Did they sign the paper?
They signed the paper.
Hey, look at that.
They signed the paper because you don't get them to sign the box. That's silly. Oh my god, I took the signatures out of the plastic.
It's driving me crazy.
Is it?
No.
Okay, good.
I don't freak out about signatures.
No, me either. It was more of it was going up there and kind of getting him to sign it for me was the fun bit.
Yeah.
The rest of it's just kind of, now it's just kind of there as a physical memento of a memory that I made. That probably changes every time we tell it because that's how memories work.
Yeah. No, eventually you'll forget something and your mind will just rewrite something in its place. So,
Yeah.
Isn't it fun?
Yeah, brain stupid.
Yeah, you don't even remember your own life. Like your brain's just fucking like riffing like.
You went to a convention and you saw Jonathan Frakes saying, "I bet this happened."
Yeah, this sounds like something that would happen. Oh, but then you didn't like this, so I'm going to change it to. You found a tater tot on the floor. It's like I don't remember doing that, but that does sound like something I do.
I love tater tots, especially floor tater tots.
Oh god, they're so good, especially if they come with a little bit of ketchup.
So I guess next time we're probably going to end up doing 3 episodes, I imagine. Enter Macbeth, The Edge, and Long Way to Morning, so 9, 10, 11. The next 3 on Disney Plus is kind of the way to keep track. Because I know I watched it early this year. What's on IMDb, in season 2, gets muddled, like disordered from what's on Disney Plus, and I don't remember whereabouts it happens. But they call something like episode 18 on here when maybe it's episode 17 on Disney Plus. So we'll have that little fun bit when we're there. So go via Disney Plus, not via what IMDb says. Because come season 2, I don't remember where exactly. We're gonna run into a flip where you're like, well, I watched episode 11 on according to IMDb, but it wasn't what was here according to there. And I think I looked on my DVD.
Fox moving shit around.
Yeah, or Disney moving shit around.
Or
was it Fox? Was it on Fox
It was
TV?
on Fox back then.
Was it? Okay.
I think I might be wrong.
I don't know. It might have been on ABC or something like that. I don't remember where the Disney cartoons or one.
Well, I mean, DuckTales was on Fox.
Was it okay? That one Disney afternoon or whatever they called it back in the day.
Yeah, but I mean, it was like Disney was just a channel that you can get way back in the day, and then eventually they started doing like pulling their own cartoons back because I'm fairly certain DuckTales was on Fox. And then I think they reclaimed all of that stuff. But anyways, I'm probably wrong about it too. I know Tailspin was on Fox.
Okay.
And that's definitely Disney.
Yeah.
So
I've thought about trying to go back and rewatching some of the old stuff on. I really want to find Aladdin because I love that cartoon, but I don't think it's anywhere.
I'll find it for you.
That'd be cool.
As long as there's people with niche shit, I could find someone that's got a fucking pirated copy of like all the Aladdin shit.
You know, I would purchase it if it was available. Make it available, and I'll buy it. You don't make it available, and maybe I'll find it somewhere.
So right now, some Disney execs like, do you hear that? Nick just said he'd buy the Aladdin show if we put it back out. Let's go ahead and make 14 million copies of it. And then like Nick's the only one that buys it. It's like, we're ruined.
Just put it on Disney Plus. I'll watch it on Disney Plus.
Yeah, I'd watch it too. Like the games. I played the shit out of the games too. Like re-release the games that were out on Nintendo back.
Well,
in the
I also
day.
made you watch Return of Jafar,
and I liked it.
and the show had the same-ish tone as that.
Mm-hmm. I remember
It was essentially it was the pilot episode for their cartoon.
I was dreading watching it, but like I did like it. But there was so much more singing.
Yeah,
like the bird got two songs.
Give Gilbert Godfrey 2 songs and have him sing in his Gilbert Godfrey voice.
Oh god, it was terrible, but still.
But you finally got Jafar with the song, which he didn't. He only had like a reprieve of the hero song in the original. Give him his only one. It's like you're only second best or you're only second rate or something like that.
Something like that.
And then just kind of dunk on the genie because he's not a genie anymore.
Yeah, and then now Jafar is, and he's still a chump for some reason.
Yeah. But so you had Return of Jafar be like the pilot for the show, and then the next movie, I think King of Thieves is kind of like the series finale for the show, essentially.
You gonna make me watch that one eventually?
Maybe. I don't know that I will. But I think it's on par, maybe slightly better than the other one, because you also get Robin Williams back as Genie.
Dan Castellaneta didn't do a bad job.
He did good. And he also played Genie more. He just didn't bring the same, necessarily, gravitas.
Homer Genie.
Yeah. Because he kind of sounds... He always kind of sounds like Homer for the most part. So I think next month, come January, be ready for the next 3 episodes. Because again, we're going to do something similar where we riff about an episode, probably bullshit a lot, because it's hard to cut that shit out.
Yeah, I'm amazed that we got up to past an hour on this, but
No, it's kind of. And join us next month for more Gargoyles.
Or don't.
But please do.
It's your life.
We can't tell you what to do.
Yeah.
Put it on in the background.
That'd be nice. Like you don't have to watch it.
You can listen to us as like a podcast.
You might like to listen to the buttery, dulcet tones of Nick, but
Buttery, yeah.
maybe my voice bothers you. Just shut me out. Watch it in the background. Help a brother out. I mean, like, subscribe, do all the shit. Or don't. It's your life.
Tell us what you think of Gargoyles in the comments. I'm not super worried about spoilers. If you really want to be like, man, I really love in the future about stupid shit. Us talking about it in show, I'll probably be minorly... I don't want to get super in... Again, it's kind of like we're going back and watching a show that we've already seen.
Dude, there has to be... I don't want to be that guy, but honestly...
Who's like, man, you spoiled the thing that's coming up super far in the future.
The show has been out for fucking 30 years.
Yeah.
Like, stop it. Like, I feel like there has to be, like, some kind of fucking line. I think the joke is right now, like, Twin Towers was not funny for a very long time. Then eventually...
Twin Peaks?
Twin Towers. When Twin Towers came out, you could not make jokes about the Twin Towers as a comedian for the longest time.
Yeah.
It hits the 10-year mark and it's back on the menu. And I think that's the joke. Something that's super tragic is off limits for 10 years. And then after that, you start talking about it.
Are you saying
again.
Gargoyles is tragic?
I wouldn't say it's tragic, but I'm just saying if if there's a rule for tragedy,
we're talking about the show.
yeah,
For the most part, we'll be talking about the episode. But be forewarned, we might bring up a point.
we don't spoil shit.
We might spoil shit in the future. We're probably not going to talk about it a lot because it's not necessarily relevant to what's going on now.
Well, there's going to be an episode where we're going to be like, oh, this character, and I think he was great, and like in the future when he does this thing,
Yeah. Because their characters come back. Obviously, the characters are going to come back.
yeah.
All 3 of the villains, I guess, well, the pack is 5, but counting them as the pack, Demona and Dracon are all going to come back and do shit in the future. And generally, for the most part, if you're bringing the pack back, like Lexington's going to hate on him. If you're bringing Demona back, Brooklyn's not going to be happy. If you're bringing the pack back instead of the backpack,
It's like saying maybe baby. It's just fun.
maybe baby.
Maybe baby. It's just fun.
And if Dracon comes back, Broadway's going to be involved in it.
Everyone gets their moment to shine.
Yep, everyone has their villains.
Okay. I think we've done enough damage here.
Yeah, I think we can be done.
All
All right. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Have a gargoyle afternoon, and we can't figure out what to call this series. So if you have like something,
don't call it Gargoyle Afternoon.
Well, I mean, if you have something that's a little tongue in cheek, that's kind of like a little punny, put it down in the comments because we cannot figure out.
Yeah, otherwise it's just going to be like the seen by few Gargoyles deep dive, which is not very punchy.
But if you have something good, we'll change the name of them.
Yeah, give us puns. Puns are fun.
All right, get out of here.
Bye, everybody.
Go to bed. Oh wait. There's one thing I wanted to mention real quick.
Okay.
In the episode, this last episode,
Deadly Force.
Yes.
Yep.
So Broadway and Goliath go to the hospital, and they're like, she's like, guys, and they're like, rest, Lisa, you're safe now. And they go outside the room, and then daytime comes up, and they're on vigil outside of a room, and it's like, how the fuck are you safe? Like somebody could walk up on the roof and just be like, who put these specs?
You imagine that bureaucracy is going to get in the way because you're going to come out and be like, who put these fucking statues here? And then you kind of like write out a requisition form. You kind of inform your boss. So it would take time for them to come and remove the statues. They'll be gone by the evening.
But I mean, just saying, if like somebody wanted to come and finish off Elisa, if Dracon decided I'm going to go there and I'm going to shoot her in the fucking head,
now he's arrested.
And Gargoyle's like, or Goliath's like, rest now, you're safe. It's like you're a fucking statue. You're not protecting nobody. As a matter of fact, like you are the most vulnerable that you're ever going to be. It's like
Also, Dracon didn't even do it.
Well, yeah, no, that wasn't the point. Like,
yeah.
But
It's
like
we took care of it for you. We got Dracon.
I just thought it was funny. It's like me saying, "Don't worry, Nick. While you sleep, I've got your back." And then me going to sleep. It's like
you watching Blood Rain. Don't worry, Nick. I'll be here eventually.
Okay, we're done here.
Bye, everybody.
See ya.